Jai Atmeshwar, Samarpan Yog of the Himalayas, Part 1, Episode 28. The next morning, Gurudev said, "Today is Purnima, the full moon night, and tonight we will bathe and perform a meditative spiritual practice, that is, an Anushtan." In the evening, he took me to the bank of the river Brahmaputra. There was a fork in the river because of some large boulders that were lying there. There was a smaller flow of water on the inner side, and its speed was also slower. It was not possible to stand in the water, but despite that, Gurudev went into the water where it was deeper and asked me to join him there. The water reached up to my chest, and then he asked me to concentrate my chitta on my navel. He said, "Stand with your chitta focused on your navel. I am handing over my energy through my navel to your navel. Accept it with a complete feeling of surrender. This will develop your Nabhi chakra, that is, your navel chakra." Spiritual progress always begins from the Nabhi chakra. First of all, there should be physical progress. Then one should obtain inner peace, and then one should have control over one's thoughts. Only after that can one reach this chakra. As Gurudev was speaking, I began to experience coolness around my navel. I felt as if a fish had got stuck there. I even touched the place with my hand, but there was no fish there and it still felt cold. Spiritual progress takes place from this chakra. An unsatisfied person can never cross this chakra. A dissatisfied sadhak can never go beyond this chakra. That is why, as long as a sadhak is not satisfied, meditation cannot start. The sadhak will first have to become satisfied. Satisfaction is always a spiritual experience within one's soul, and this can be acquired when one goes inwards. This can never be obtained externally. Foolish sadhaks keep searching for satisfaction outside themselves. This is a kind of inner feeling. This feeling is like that of a beggar on the one hand who does not possess anything and yet can experience everything, and on the other hand, like that of a king who has everything and yet cannot create this feeling of satisfaction. A person whose chitta is outside won't be able to establish this. In order to establish it, one's chitta has to be within oneself, because this is an inner process. And when a person's chitta is within, this process happens on its own. This ocean cannot be crossed without the Guru's blessings, because If you do not find an authoritative guru, you won't ever obtain this feeling. You need someone to tell you at least that satisfaction cannot exist externally. It is within, and one should search for it within. Go within yourself, because if we do not get a great person who can guide us in our life, we won't ever find out about it. I screamed suddenly, Gurudev, something is going round and round in my navel. Gurudev said, this chakra is being activated. Let it happen. Satisfaction is not something that one can acquire from outside. Sadhaks search for satisfaction in perishable objects. Some people get satisfaction by getting intoxicated. But in reality, any experience of satisfaction can be obtained only through subtle emotions. This emotion cannot be created at all as long as the I sense is present. I is always ambitious. I is never satisfied. I is never contented. That is why it is very difficult to come out of the illusion of I. I keeps taking on new forms and new layers. It keeps taking the support of the intellect and hits out from a concealed place. I is the enemy we have nurtured within ourselves and which is hidden inside us in the form of a friend. It won't ever allow satisfaction to be established within us, because if satisfaction is established, then the death of the I sense will certainly take place. Gurudev went on talking, and perhaps he was talking so that I could become thoughtless, because vibrations were being showered through his speech. I still remember that night. It was a full moon night. The river water was very cold. This was my first experience of standing in such deep water, but there was no fear at all. There was certainly a curiosity about what sort of process was happening. The full moon of Purnima had lit up all the river water. The water was shining, and the river seemed to be made of silver. From time to time, the fish became excited and jumped out of the water up to 6 feet, as if all of them had suddenly become very satisfied. There were lots and lots of fish all around me. Sometimes, when they came and touched my body, they tickled me. It occurred to me that fishermen move here and there in search of fish, but they still cannot find them. I do not have any expectations of finding fish, and I do not want the fish to come so close to me, but they still keep coming. It seemed as if Gurudev was teaching me a lesson of satisfaction through the fish. He seemed to be saying, if you wander around outside in search of satisfaction, you will never find it externally. If you do not search for satisfaction outside and go inwards, there will be a shower of satisfaction. I thanked him in my mind for his grace. Something was moving slowly near my navel from right to left, and its circle kept widening. In the beginning, there was only a subtle feeling, but later on, it seemed as if a big wheel had come close to me. Its circle slowly widened so much that my whole body was diffused with it, and its effect grew continually. A bright radiance like the moon was being created around me, and slowly that radiance advanced towards Gurudev, and then both Gurudev and I were enveloped by that radiance. I could not keep my eyes open even though I wanted to, because now this radiance was outside my limit of endurance. I was experiencing a kind of weariness. I felt as if I would not even be able to continue standing in the river. And on the other hand, the fish seemed to be having a jumping competition. They were not afraid of me at all. Slowly, my eyes closed, and I don't know what happened after that, but I seemed to be in a wheel which was rotating very fast. My whole body had turned to ice, and all bodily feelings seemed to have stopped. A state of void had been created. I don't know how long that state of void lasted, and when I came out of it, I saw that it was almost morning and Gurudev was not in the river. The night had passed and it was already morning, and now the vibrations in my navel chakra had stopped. It was Gurudev's greatness that he never had the feeling of being a doer, because he had risen above this feeling of being the doer of any work. I realized that Gurudev had wiped out his identity. He had dissolved himself in the collective universal consciousness. Thus, he was not doing anything and yet was a complete medium of universal consciousness. Whatever living knowledge I received last night had been acquired through his medium. He was my universal consciousness, my Paramatma, because I obtained Paramatma only through him as a medium. How could I forget the ladder of Paramatma? I was fortunate to be given the chance to stay with him for a few days. I do not know why, but I kept feeling that all these gurus are separate from their physical bodies. They had neither ever met each other, nor was there any similarity between them in their color, or their appearance, their behavior, or their spiritual practice, and yet they all appeared to be connected from within. All of them had a certain purpose, and they all knew what they were doing. All of them were at the topmost spiritual level in their lives, and all of them had the desire to distribute living knowledge. In spite of following different paths, they could reach the same place. All of them had attained that level after undergoing very difficult and rigorous spiritual practices. I found the presence of all of them quite similar. I never felt that I had come from one guru to another guru. I found all of them similar. Everyone knew about me and was also aware of what my role was going to be in the future. I did not have any knowledge about myself, but all the others knew me. I was in the state where I was walking on some unknown path on which all the other travelers knew where they were going, and I was the only one who was not aware of it and was walking towards some unknown peak. One day, I was just observing it when Gurudev suddenly said, "You are the path." A path does not come from anyone, nor does it go anywhere. The path remains steady in its own place. You too have not come from anywhere, nor do you have to go anywhere. You do not begin from anywhere, nor do you end anywhere. You are a stationary path which was created more than 800 years ago. This path has been created because of man's desire for spiritual progress. Man expressed a desire for spiritual progress in collectivity, and this path has been created as a result of that desire. The continuous devotion of thousands and thousands of pious souls has been instrumental in this creation. It was only because of their spiritual devotion that this simple and straightforward path could be created. This path has been created because of a good collective energy. But today, this royal path can be used by anyone who wishes to progress spiritually. This is an open road. There are no restrictions here. There is no discrimination here. It is meant for everyone. This path is for all the people who wish to walk on it. All they require is their soul's desire for spiritual progress, because it is only due to these desiring souls that this path has been created. You have been born because of the wish of millions of souls. One's inner progress always happens in collectivity. Only those souls who understand this secret can find it in collectivity. You have taken birth only because of the collective efforts of those souls. For example, If a diamond has fallen in the dirt, then some dirt will stick to the diamond too. Similarly, the karma you have to endure through the body has also come along with the body in which you have been born. You can perform Guru Karya only after enduring all the karma. Each one has to endure the pleasures and sufferings of one's body. The soul is liberated after enduring them, and after that it becomes strong through the Guru's grace. Right now, you are under the influence of the body, and that is why you won't be able to understand all that I am telling you. When you have gone beyond the influence of this body, you will reach the area of the soul. The area of the soul only is everlasting because Paramatma resides in the soul. The body is perishable, and that is why the sphere of the body is also perishable. Change is the gift of nature. No two bodies are ever alike. The secret of nature is hidden in the changes that take place in nature. Changes keep happening in everything that is connected to nature. Man also takes birth under the influence of a determined sphere of nature. Therefore, it keeps on changing from time to time. To change is the basic quality of nature, and changes keep on happening in nature. You are an ancient path that was created 800 years ago, whose aim is to help in the progress of the soul. Only those souls who wish for the progress of their soul are able to accept you. It is the personal sphere of every soul to desire progress of one's self. It is possible when the soul wishes for it. This cannot happen under normal circumstances. When the soul wishes for progress of itself, then it happens through the Guru's grace. The Guru, through whom this progress of the self takes place, does not do anything, but it occurs through him because he too is only a medium. Similarly, you too are only a medium. You won't do anything yourself, but this spiritual work will be completed through you. You won't do anything, but without you, this spiritual work won't happen. I am able to tell you all this because I have moved away from the influence of the physical body. One day, you too will leave it, and then you will understand the influence of the body in order to know oneself. When we move inwards, our journey also moves inwards. All of us gurus wish to give you the direction on the inward journey, because you will acquire knowledge only when you go inwards. Spiritual progress is not possible without knowing yourself, without knowing who you are. Everything has been determined in your life. Everything will happen at the right time. Wait for that right time, because it can neither take place before it nor after it. I was thinking about the same thing the next day. I could not understand what Gurudev wanted to tell me yesterday. I could not understand what he was referring to, and I prayed in my mind, Gurudev, let me understand through your grace all that you wish to make me understand. Jai Atmeshwar. We'll conclude today's session of the book reading here. Thank you for listening.